not too far removed from it, but still, it is before. This is before Feeling Good. So there you go to answer that question. But
No,
guys, go ahead.
the wear on his face, hell of a year.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, it was all that day trading gone awry that he
Yeah,
did in that short span of time between the two releases.
just
So.
eats you up, eats you up. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of That's Audiophiles. I'm the bloke on the left, he's the bloke on the right. It's all the same, only the names will change. Every day, it seems we're wasting away. More on that later. But first, we have a track to listen to, sent by Andy. Andy, what have you got?
We are going to be revisiting one of your new favorite subgenres of guitar rock music, and that is beach goth.
Cheers.
And it can only come in the form of a band that we've recently listened to on this channel. That I think you actually, all joking aside, I think you enjoyed listening to them. It is the Growlers from out there in sunny California.
These are my top three.
Yeah, exactly. And this track by them is called Love Test. So I'd love for you to go take it and see if you pass. And really, I just mean go off and listen to it, and then come back and let us know what you've made of it.
Will do. Okay, this is an interesting mise-en-scène, as I say. Your man here has gone from the failed day trader at karaoke to this sort of amalgamation of Noel Fielding, Tom Petty, and Terry Wogan. British viewers will recognise that microphone and stand from blankety blank. I can't believe I'm saying this. But the overall aesthetic is really interesting as well. I thought for a minute that person on the right is dressed up a bit like the other half of Sleaford Mods, but his hair's all wrong. But the white dinner jackets, rarely look classy, only on James Bond. And you've got this Chinese restaurant sort of motif going through it. Yeah, interesting. We'll see how it pans out.
They don't make them like they do in the country. The city moves too fast to appreciate all the time it takes for sweet loving. Listen for fate's whisper, it'll try and warn you, telling your heart to be cautious of a lover trying to harm you. All the girls in LA look like they're fading away. A woman should be strong with thick legs and big arms. No stars in the sky, they put them on the street with the bums and the tramps that nobody needs. Listen for fate's whisper.
That was odd. The music's very pretty simple, actually. It's got that sort of surfer rock feel to it, but it's really slowed down. Bass line's really nice, very basic, but he's sort of like strolling away, like there's somebody humming to themselves. Drums got these nice, very sort of kind of almost wooden sound to it, sort of talking away, and then the odd cymbal splash as well. And then you get the two guitarists. One is doing that sort of slow, strummed surfer chord that sort of reverbs for a bar or so. While the other one's doing more sort of accented, picking work, which works very nicely together. It's quite sort of pedestrian, and it's sort of like a sort of field type piece. And if you love this tone, then you're, like a pig in mud. It sounds great, as I did before. I got stuff about, I can't remember what I wrote down there. Difference between the country and the city. There was caution as well. So I guess this is a cautionary tale about love and relationships. There's a funny stuff there as well about the size of women. Yeah, all good stuff.
It'll try and warn you, telling your heart to be cautious of a lover trying to harm you. Nothing is easy. Love isn't easy as it seems.
Not the best of mimers, is he? Which is to his credit, I guess. He probably usually plays live, so that's fair enough.
Crying shame, there's no way to give her a love test. Listen for faith.
I get it. So these booth things are like fairground attraction type things. A love test, you grip the hand, was supposed to read you, whatever. I don't believe we had these in the UK. I've only seen them on American TV or films. It is a bit odd that these women are in bikinis with what would you call them, house coats, dressing gowns, and they're kind of, yeah, it is odd.
It's whisper, it'll try and warn you, telling your heart to be cautious of a lover trying to harm you.
So try to make like a TV show at the end with that sort of vision mix of all the bits in there. Yeah, that was an interesting finale. Um, yeah, it's like, somebody's lost a bet and that's to dress as Brittany or something, and bunches and a lumpy swimming costume. Yeah, overall, this was fun to watch, obviously. Your man definitely has charisma, whether he's, on that Feeling Good video or on this one. He's definitely watchable. He's a pleasant voice as well, so I enjoy hearing him. I think this kind of strolled along and it was nice and pleasant and fun. Um, but it wouldn't like make my top three like Feeling Good did. I think it lacks something. Perhaps it's that keyboard and that sort of doorless keyboard in that first one. Um, I don't know. This was just it was as good. It was all right, but it kind of lacked something, I think. But it was funny and very knowing, and yeah, I did appreciate it. So that's cool. Let's get back to Andy and find out all the gossip about it.
All right, so you're back. I hope you're feeling good about the love test. What did you, that's a reference to both songs now that we've done by them. What did you make of this one and how does it yeah, thank you. Thank you. Please hold your applause until the end of the episode. Uh, how was your experience with this? This is a more of a video to a song than it was the studio performance kind of aspect that you got with Feeling Good. But how does this hold up compared to it? And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so we open with what I think passes as like COD Chinese restaurant font in neon lighting, and then I see the info tag in the bottom corner that says Chinese Fountain, which I presume is the album title. So that makes sense of sorts. And as we go through the video performance, we have this theme. Yeah, then you get this strange and quite amateurish sort of splicing of this adoring audience that they could be seemingly sort of like driven to life by bayonet point, before our man appears and gestures with that universal sign for thanks a bunch, now pipe down. um, so yeah, our wasted day trader now has a new look.
Yeah.
This strange amalgamation of Noel Feeding, Johnny Depp, Tom Petty, and Terry Wogan. I just wondered, is shorn of facial hair? It looks. I know it could be a thing, but he looks younger in this video. I'm guessing this is an earlier song. It may
Mm,
not be, but
mm,
that was my vibe.
that's
So
fine.
I need to explain some of those references there. Noel Feeding is a comedian from the UK who kind of looks a bit like a giant black crow. Um, we obviously get Jack Sparrow, Tom Petty with a hat, and Terry Wogan. Now, in the UK, we had a really naff game show that started in the late 70s called Blankety Blank.
Yeah.
It would feature two members of the Great Unwashed, a couple of idiots pulled off the streets, and they there to provide missing words or words in a phrase or sentence of usually comedic and sometimes double entendre value. And that word then would have to match the selections made by six B-list celebrities in little booths. And the host was a national treasure. I believe he was actually a singer at some point way, way back. Irishman Terry Wogan with his treacle voice. And the famous wig. He had a microphone exactly like the one your man's got in there,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
little
yeah. Sort
long
of this
sort of thing, but
over
double on top.
here. The first thing that comes to mind, similar to you guys, is game show, something like Bob Barker, The Price is Right. You stay home
Yeah,
at
one of
noon
those today.
today when you're sick, and he's, come on down, and they're doing the whole thing, and he's got that ridiculously
What's wrong
long.
with a fucking just normal
Yeah,
mic?
I know. I don't know what it was about the 70s or that era, but man, those long, skinny microphones were all the rage.
So yeah, Terry Wogan had one until another national treasure who truly is a chap called Kenny Everett. I reached over and snapped it. Yeah, perfect moment. And then a
Had it
few years
coming.
later, after that, we had a comedian called Les Dawson took over, and he had one. He always used to say at the end, "And for the benefit of our viewer, Arthur in Cheltenham." Good night, God bless. Every every week he's talking about his one viewer.
Yeah.
I was at college then, and we used to sit in with like a couple of bottles of port and a big lump of Stilton, and we drinking coffee mugs and dunk Stilton in like biscuits, and just watch Les and get fucking blotto. It's brilliant. Anyway, I can go on forever. So the aesthetics are a little odd in this here video drama. Um, the white dinner jackets look on their last legs. I mean, they look smart on James Bond. They look terrible than anybody else. And as I say, his attire looks in his last legs, as does the rest of the band as well. So your man's opening gambit is talking about, I don't know how you find love in LA. They don't make them like they do in the country. The music's really simple. So you've got the drums, the percussion. There's a nice sort of wooden talking to it, you know, as it's going along, and it accompanies a very gentle, strolling bass. It's quite simple, but it's just
Yeah.
it's noodling relentlessly. It's nice, and the guitars kind of swoop in and out of the action, so you get this 1-2, which is quite a classic sound. So as we're looking at the guy on the right, the band's left, is doing those sort of expressive chord strums that sort
Yeah.
of reverb for a bar or two and accenting, you know, certain words. And it has that sort of surfer rock sound to it, which is very classic. While the second guitar is more tinkling away and some chattering sort of phrases. And it kind of sounds like ice melting in a big tall tumbler, ding, 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 as it goes down. Um, he mentions something about fate's whisper warning you and recommending caution. Um, and then he ushers in some hapless blonde to occupy some sort of stall. Now, I didn't realize what it was at first. You see it later. I wondered if it was a vintage arcade game. Um, he opines that women should be strong country stock, I guess, with big arms and thighs. And with that, I thought it was just that reference, not the game. And he gives Blondie the push after 20 seconds. I was like, you know, women should be big and strong. Well, there you go. But it was
Yeah.
nothing to do with that. But yeah, so fickle. Um, there's also a nice line, just I think immediately after that, which is something about no stars in the sky. They put them on the street. And that was quite an interesting one because it could refer to stars in the street, as in the handprints, you know, down the big outside Chinese theatre, or literally on the streets, as in trade. Um, no,
I
as well.
instantly thought of the Walk of Fame, like in
Yeah,
LA with the stars on the sidewalk, you know, plots and the different names of
yeah, yeah.
actors and musicians and so forth. So yeah, yeah.
Whereas I thought of them ending up on the street when they failed their acting career
Yeah, yeah,
and having to
exactly.
sell their ass instead. But
Yeah.
it also made me feel of made me think as well about sort of the stars, and again, it's this country versus city thing. And so the place in France, there is zero light pollution.
Yeah, nothing. You
So,
just
we can see the Milky Way with the naked eye. It's just amazing.
yeah.
And yeah, you really do get a sense of the sort of infiniteness of space, and all the possibilities. So then we get the lines again about sort of fate and caution. So I figure out with my steel-like detection that this must be the chorus. And also there's extra cymbal splashes in it as well. It segues into a very gentle guitar solo. It kind of sounds like a sort of 50s period piece, but slowed down.
Yeah.
Because if it's a surfer from the 50s, it'd be like, don't, but
Hmm.
it's like, so it's really quite languid.
Yeah, it's like surf lounge music
Yeah.
almost. Yeah.
And you have actually the bass doing a decent job in the sidecar as well, mimicking along just as good as the solo guitar, because he's just sort of, you know, gently doing it.
Hmm.
And then we get some added harmonies to this kind of very brief, my goodness, bridge-like section. And as this is happening, we pan across the slightly creepy, slightly wooden persona with the cap and glasses and the awkward expression. I'm not sure if he's if he's trying to smuggle something within the interior of his body, but he's got a very strange look to him. And there's more canned applause as another beauty is led on stage to engage with another booth. Um, and we see a little more, and I guess now I see it's one of these test your dot dot dot. I guess love. When you sort of grip the handle on it, it then says you're suitable, unsuitable, whatever.
Yeah.
We didn't really have those things in the UK, sort of fairgrounds, whatever. The closest thing we ever got to it was a fortune-telling fish that used to get in crackers at Christmas. I don't know if you're familiar with this. Um, so you pull the crackers at Christmas and you
Right.
get a paper hat and a toy, whatever. And I think, particularly in the 70s and 80s, you get this fortune-telling fish, which is a bit of like red, almost cellophane in the shape of fish. And you put it on your hand, and the heat of your hand will make this cellophane move. And you had a list of things that said, like, if it turns over, you're in love. If it curls up the tail, then you'll meet somebody there. If the head turns up, you're jealous. And if the sides curl up, remember, was fickle. Which isn't like a 7-year-old didn't know what the hell that was. So that's the news we had to this fortune telling love test. Absolute bollocks. But it kept us, we didn't have the internet, so it kept us really, engaged for hours. Anyway, off she pops, toot sweet. I guess failing that test as the singer laments, it's a wicked game and a crying shame, and there's no way to give her a love test. I figure at this point they're hiring these girls by the second, because that's how long they're allowed on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we cycle through another chorus, another guitar spot. It's another brief one as well, and we sort of linger around the becapped weirdo. Um, we get a bit more sort of harmony bridge like before we discover that his perfect partner match is a mustachioed geezer in a lumpy swimming costume, coquettishly approaching behind a oriental fan. And so as the other half of the Sleaford mods jumped into Brittany's arms, a Chinese dragon enters, and we get a vision mix of the adoring audience and the previous players, and even the guy in one of the half of the guy in the Chinese dragon has get his 5 seconds of fame as well, and then a really really meager amount of ticker tape rains down, just like about half a bucket. And then it ends with the spoof title page. Tune in next week, just as the dinner gong in the restaurant next door rings out for service. Yeah, this was a lot of fun, pleasantly eccentric as well. But yeah, just a nice, pleasant ramble. I think if you love that surfer guitar tone, you'd be in heaven.
Yeah.
It was a bit sort of pedestrian, which isn't, necessarily a bad thing. But for me, it just kind of lacked a little something which Feeling Good had. And I think it's probably that Doors-esque keyboard and the
Mm,
way it fitted together. So this was really decent, but it wasn't outstanding. It wasn't top three like
yeah,
it
okay.
was. But the song itself seemed to be cautionary about sort of not being too ready to trust other people or relationships. I think a lot of that, from what I caught, was equating all the good stuff to the more simple country ways, or perhaps more honest, against the shadowy, vacuous mores of city folk who
Yeah.
aren't to be trusted, and quite rightly so. So yeah, this is decent. I
All right,
enjoyed it. I mean, I
excellent.
really enjoyed the video and everything, and the guy has obviously a lot of charisma as well. It's a
Yeah.
bit sort of odd. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely fits the part with his whole aesthetic and demeanor and everything like that. You rattled off names that also have that going for them as well when you're coming up with comps. There's a little bit of a Jack White thing going on there too with his look. The scraggly hair, and give him a top hat or some sort of bowler cap or something like that. And you're like, yeah, you look like Jack White. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. If not as much as Feeling Good, you still had a good time listening to it. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right. I mean, to some extent, they were missing those kind of organy like key strokes that we had in the other track, switched out for second guitar in this one, which you will find from track to track with these guys. One of the members kind of wears both hats when it comes to like playing keys or guitar on any given track. So go ahead, John.
Just meant, sorry, finally, I meant to mention as well. In terms of beach, double tick. Goth, I've seen more goth My Little Ponies. I mean, it's just nonsense.
You have?
Um,
I need
yeah.
to see that episode, John.
So yeah, the beach thing, yes. The goth thing, absolute fuck off. So
Fair. Okay. So, as we mentioned now a few times here in this episode, we've covered them before on the channel. So, for more in-depth information on the band and a chance to hear another tune by them, if you haven't already, please go check out our episode devoted to their track "Feeling Good." Aside from a quick recap of the band and their sound, I'll try to stick to just focusing on the album and the track at hand. So the Growlers, they are a band from Southern California. They began their career in Orange County City, Dana Point, California in 2006, and they are currently based out of Costa Mesa. The band's sound has been described as a trademark style of music that somehow combines surf, pop, rock, and beat, which has been labeled as John's favorite term, beach goth. And they have released 7 albums, several EPs, and a number of singles. The track that I had you listen to today features on the band's 4th studio album named Chinese Fountain, as you were quick to observe. And it was released on September 23rd of 2014 by Ever Loving Records. The band's lineup on this album, Chinese Fountain, consisted of Brooks Nielsen, vocals, Matt Taylor, guitar, Kyle Straka on keyboard slash guitar in this track, Scott Montoya on drums, and Anthony Braun Perry on bass. The album charted at the John dizzying heights of number 173 on the Billboard US 200, number 7 on the Billboard Heat Seekers, and number 35 on the Billboard US Independent Albums chart. It also charted at number 49 on the US Top Rock Albums chart. Reviewing the album for Treble Zine, writer Giovanni Martinez offered up the following. On Chinese Fountain, the Growlers take steps to expand their musical horizons. While the sounds are a lot cleaner and definitely work to the band's advantage, the Growlers still cling to their surf rock roots. Album opener Big Toe is a clear indicator of this, holding dear to a prevalent reverb twang. Meanwhile, Black Memories and Magnificent Success feature similar elements with satisfying results that only prove the Growlers are uniquely able to create some refreshing songs that reflect a distinct type of California sound only heard in a few bands. Adding, part of what makes the Growlers special lies not only in their nostalgic sound, but also with Nielsen, who presents himself as a mysterious narrator. While the production on Chinese Fountain is a notable departure from earlier releases, the different route that the band takes is one that suits them well here. It might divide some fans because of the atypical approach, but at the core of the album, the Growlers remain a consistently compelling musical force. April Cease of Glide magazine graded the album 8 out of 10 and wrote this of the track and the effort as a whole. Perhaps the most involved track, Love Test, is an anecdotal romp through the Growlers' new respective home and what it means to approach a city pace from a town teeming with beach bum chillness. Hailing from a literal historic location in California, the Growlers began nearly surrounded by water in Dana Point, California. Their sun-kissed songs were at first a loose collection of influences, and as their perspective has widened, the focus of an ever tighter musical mosaic, the Growlers have similarly tied up their loose ends and perceived shortcomings, adding, restraint is but a relative thing with Chinese Fountain. The Growlers do their damnedest to turn a barely over a month of composing and recording into a comprehensive missive on what they ultimately want, a distinct sound that is unmistakably theirs through and through. be it beach goth or any heaps of genres. Let them be the Growlers. It's a great sound indeed. And finally, over at Under the Radar magazine, Will Moth scored the album an 8 out of 10 as well and posited Chinese Fountain sees the LA group tackle current issues with criticism, yet with all the wit and cheek that is almost the stereotype of your standard five piece. The album's title track examines our modern obsession with technology and connectivity, while a riff that Nile Rodgers would be proud of proves that, despite brilliantly bold statements like, the internet is bigger than Jesus and John Lennon, the Growlers still don't take themselves too seriously. I love that line, which harkens all the way back to when John supposedly put his foot in his mouth all those years ago. So it is the combination of vibrant, light-hearted instrumentation and intelligent lyrics that make Chinese Fountain one of the best guitar albums of the year. In an age when brilliant electronic music often takes center stage, and mostly for good reason, it takes a band like the Growlers to remind us how fun guitar-based music truly can be. So let's jump into these lyrics. Since I don't know how you find love in LA, they don't make them like they do in the country. The city moves too fast to appreciate all the time it takes for sweet loving. Listen for fate's whisper. I'll try and warn you, telling your heart to be cautious of a lover trying to harm you. All the girls in LA look like they're fading away. A woman should be strong with thick legs and big arms. The stars in the sky, they put 'em on the street with the bums and the tramps that nobody needs. Listen for fate's whisper. I'll try and warn you, telling your heart to be cautious of a lover trying to harm you. You know they say it ain't easy loving the same woman forever. Wish you luck on finding the good one on your heart's endeavor. Nothing is easy. Love isn't easy as it seems. No, you can test a woman for honesty. You can go and test her for goodness, but it's a wicked game and a crying shame. There's no way to give her a love test. Listen for fate's whisper, and I'll try and warn you, telling your heart to be cautious of a lover trying to harm you. You know, they say it ain't easy loving the same woman forever. Wish you luck on finding a good one on your heart's endeavor. Nothing is easy. Love isn't easy as it seems. So yeah, the lyrics underscore this idea of never really being sure in a relationship, and if it's going to last, and how hard it can be finding something meaningful, especially in a place like, as you mentioned, a city, and so do they, frankly, in their songs, where there are so many people, but everyone kind of keeps to themselves. That is an interesting thing about city life. And we recently, God, what was that track, John? Remind me, the one where you offered up, where they talk about, it's isolation, but from a city standpoint, from living in a city.
Moonshake, City
Yes,
Poison.
precisely. Thank you. It's kind of the same sentiment is at the root of this feeling about trying to find the one in a place where everyone feels like they're on an island to themselves, even though they're surrounded by humanity and reminders of humanity. Also, in a place like LA and some other large cities, obviously, people oftentimes have ulterior motives that are usually centered around self-interest. So it's hard to break down walls where you can be vulnerable to somebody when you always feel like people are only out to serve themselves or get an upper hand or an advantage for themselves as they try to advance their career or aspirations or whatever. So, yeah, it's about being hurt before and wanting to protect your heart from going through that pain again, but still wanting to be with someone despite that inherent risk, involved. So, yeah, tale as old as time, I suppose, or at least as old as cities. So there you go, John. Thanks for giving it a listen. you know, you were going to fall on either it was better than or not quite as good as, or I suppose completely awful compared to Feeling Good. I'm glad that you liked it a lot, but it didn't come up quite to the same, you know, heights as your feelings
Yeah,
toward
yeah.
Feeling Good. But yeah, awesome. Well, glad you liked it. Guys out there in the listening audience, please let us know what you thought about this track by the Growlers. You know, oh, John, sorry, I should probably mention this. You had sort of alluded to when this came out in the timeline, and I know if you go back and check out the other episode, you'll get your answer, but let me spare you that. The Gay Thoughts EP came out within a year or a year after this full-length album. So Feeling Good is a year after this album came out. So not too far removed from it, but still this is before Feeling Good. So there you go to answer that question. But
No,
guys, go ahead.
the wear on his face, hell of a year.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, it was all that day trading gone awry that he
Yeah,
did in that short span of time between the two releases.
just
So
eats you up, eats you up.
exactly, exactly. So guys, please let us know what your thoughts are down in the comments field below. If there's other tracks by these guys that we should check out, feel free to shout them out down there. If there's any other band or track that we should check out, also feel free to shout it down there, or any other down there's and any of the other tracks and episodes that we've done on this channel. We will add it to the list. Also, please like, share, and or subscribe if you haven't done any or all of those things. Goes a long way to help us at over here at the channel. We really do appreciate it. It only takes a couple seconds of your time. So thank you in advance to anyone who capitalizes on that. And hopefully John and I will catch all y'all in growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. We'll see you later, guys.